So this is part 2 of my ultimate mountain bike van conversion. So as some of you guys might remember from my last video in this series, we bought a small camper van with the goal of turning it into a camper van that was like solely made for transporting bikes around and was perfect for that, and everything else was kind of secondary. So in this video I'm going to take you through some of the conversion mods that we've done so far on the van. So first of all, you probably noticed that we've got a bike rack, but it wasn't the vertical bike rack that I've been looking for. This is just a two-lay bike rack, kind of like a common thing that you see in the UK and pretty much Europe. We had to get a tow bar fitted to the van, what this is on, and this is actually not mine. A friend lent me this just to try out while I was going away to Europe because I still haven't managed to sort out the vertical bike rack that I ideally want for the van. But having this bike rack so far has brought up some interesting things that I've learned about bike racks. So without the bike being in the back, I've obviously freed up all this living space where I can live, sleep, make coffee without having all the clutter of the bikes in here. Because obviously if the bikes were in there or out here, my tripod's just fallen over, they'd be everywhere. Being able to have that space free, bikes in the back, is amazing. The only problem with this bike rack though is it's very close to the van. When we want to try and get in the back of the van, it actually makes contact with the bike rack. And sure, this bike rack, you can rotate it and move it out of the way, but it still hits the van door. So with this bike rack on now, I actually can't get in the back of the van. So that's kind of annoying. So that made me kind of rethink bike racks altogether, because I wonder if the vertical bike rack is going to have the same issue. I mean, the only way I think we can get around this is to have some sort of swivel on the hitch, on the tow bar, that would be able to move all these bikes out the way, so then these doors can open and we can actually use the motorhome or the camper van like to its full potential. So I've also been looking at some other solutions to put the bikes on the doors, so potentially like a door mounted bike rack, so then we can open the doors and the bike rack would obviously swing around with the bikes on it, and then we would still have full access to the back of the van. So that might be a better solution than having the tow ball or the tow bracket. So might have been a bit of an unneeded expense buying the tow bracket, but I think we're going to test this bike rack out more over the next few weeks and we're going to see how practical it actually is. I do have some hefty chain in here as well for anyone wondering about security. So these are all chained together. These have got actual locks on them, so you can't undo these without a special key. So it's pretty secure. I'm still a bit wary about leaving them, like going to supermarkets and stuff on my own. So any solutions to that, I would be grateful. So bike rack was the first mod. Second mod is up on top on the roof. I swear I can hear fish moving around here. We're next to a canal. A fish just moved down there. Bonjour. Oh, you can see the fish moving. Look, this is my camp spot tonight. So we have a solar panel on the roof. So one of the more annoying things about the van when I got it was it didn't have any solar panel or an inverter in it. Powering the fridge was an absolute nightmare. So I could turn it on for a little bit and it would run off the battery life it had in the leisure battery end while I was driving, like charging through while I was driving. But then as soon as I stopped driving, we parked up off grid, the battery would be draining in a matter of hours just by running the fridge off the battery alone. So I thought the only way to get around this was to get a solar panel. So I went back and forth with a number of people, asked a lot of people what I should get. From my own research, you could get like a rigid solar panel, or you could get a flexi solar panel, and actually went with the solar panel that was I think it's 120 watts. It's got like a controller in there so I can see how much power it's pulling in from the sun, or how much energy it's pulling in from the sun, and how much it's giving my battery. Right now it seems to be working pretty good. I've literally left the fridge on now. I don't know if I'm supposed to have done this or not, but I've left it on now for like nearly 2 weeks. And this is usually around 12 volts. And you see now it's at 12 volts. This is my little controller. Tells me how much volts is coming through. It dropped a little bit last night because we had a little rain, so it went on for like 10 volts, but that's pretty much what it's set at. Packed full of food, well it was. I've eaten most of it. So yeah, solar panel is a massive plus. Just means we can charge things on the road and we can live longer off grid without having to be plugged into a mains. And then my last little mod for this video, which was kind of like a last minute thing, I think it's going to come in super handy, is this thing. So this is a side table swivel leg thing that I found on eBay. Basically, it's going to help us use these front facing swivel seats a lot better. The one thing I will add about these double seats, although they are really, really cool once they're swiveled round and you're parked up, actually getting them to swivel round, for me, is a f***ing nightmare. Feels like a scene from Austin Powers. It doesn't just swivel round, it's like this ever-ending crab to try and turn the things around, and it usually leaves me in frustration. So yeah, I had this cool little table made, pops on top of here, and we can tighten it. Yeah, look at this. It's like a perfect workstation. So as you guys know, we do a lot of work on the road. This just makes perfect sense. Enough space here for working, chilling, having a coffee if you were that dangerous, put it next to your laptop. And because it swivels, it's kind of easy to get out of as well. So even if we're like at the side of the road or camping, or say Amanda's cooking and I'm doing food prep, this just gives us a little bit more space than all being crammed inside the van. Even just having a coffee. Like, it's just, I think this is one of the best mods we've done to the van so far. I'll put a link in the description to this product if anybody's interested in it. So that was kind of like a mini update, or like part 2 of this series I'm doing on the van. If you guys have got any recommendations, please pop them in the comments below. I'm always open to ideas on how we can adapt this, or what other people have done in the past, or things I may be doing wrong or missed. Or there will be obviously future parts of this. I want to install some hot water somehow, like a shower system, amongst other ideas. So get your recommendations and ideas below. And if this video was cool and you enjoyed it, give it a like, because it helps us share it with more people. Tell me what you think of the mullet as well, if you actually watched this far. Maybe some of you have clocked on. I decided to get a mullet. I thought it looks quite cool. Some will agree, some will not, like Marmite. Anyway, take care guys. I'm gonna continue my drive down south to the south of France. Take care. See you in the next one.